Hello, everyone. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to this webinar. My name is Carl. I'm here on behalf of the TEFL org to talk a little bit for the next hour about teaching English online in 2022 and abroad. I'm here in Northern Ireland where I work as a teacher trainer. I work as an online teacher. I work as an examiner as well in English as a foreign language. Please say hello in the chat. Let me know where you are. I can already see the hellos coming in. Romilla, hello in England. Chase, is it, in Dubai? Elsbeth, hello. Elizabeth in Canada. How are you, Elizabeth? Hope you're doing well. Captain Maron's back again. Tracy in North Carolina. I can't keep up with them. Stephen in Arizona. Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Basically, I'm here to talk a little bit about teaching English online in 2022 and also going beyond that. But if you have any questions at all about teaching English as a foreign language, please do put them in the chat. I've been lucky enough to have taught in China, Vietnam, Japan, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Spain, Italy. I feel like I've missed somewhere. Sri Lanka. Yes, I've taught in all of those places, traveled around a lot of other places as well. I've been teaching online for about 6 years now. So before COVID, I started teaching online. I have my own little business where I recruit my own students. I've also worked for other companies and universities through teaching online. So if you've got any questions at all about English as a foreign language and teaching it, please do put it in the chat. And either Alan, who is monitoring the chat, or myself will answer the questions. Alan might put a link in, something like that, to answer it more quickly. But if not, at the end of the presentation, I will answer it. And look, all the hellos are coming in. Hello, Carmel in Ireland, Musa in Uganda, Nancy in Boston, Fariza in Turkey. I'm sorry, I can't say hello to everyone. There's so many people there. Right, let's get started about teaching online in 2022. So, the first thing I want to say, and I want to talk a bit about, is there a market in 2022 and beyond for teaching English? Because when COVID hit, online teaching just bloomed, basically. It went crazy. Lots of people got into online teaching, and many people have stayed in online teaching, whether COVID is over or not. Depends on your point of view, but lots of people have stayed teaching English online, and lots of countries have, lots of schools really have kept teaching online. Others have gone back to face, but there's still a lot of people teaching English as a foreign language online. Okay, so yes, is there still a market in 2022? I believe yes. I'm still getting students contacting me asking for lessons. I'm still seeing jobs being advertised. I'm going to go into that a bit in a bit. I still have people that I train up who get jobs teaching English online. So is there a market in 2022? Yes, there is. And going forward, I believe that there will still be quite a big market for teaching online. So, for example, just on our website, there are 9 roles just for online advertised. You know, that's 9 different jobs. Now, they're not necessarily just wanting one person. I saw a Facebook group earlier where they were actually looking for 200 teachers. And there was a company advertising on there who wanted 200 teachers. That's quite a lot. You know, I don't know how many people are watching this webinar right now, but there are definitely jobs out there. So just on our website, TEFL.org, there are 9 online roles, okay? If you go to ESL Cafe, which is where I got my first ever ESL job, and it's been going strong ever since then, there are 16 more. The website is called ESL. We are EFL, TEFL. The difference between them is really, really small. If you've got a TEFL certificate, you can also apply for an ESL job as well. On TEFL.com, there are 13 currently advertised on for online jobs. So yes, there is a market. There are jobs being advertised. But what I would say is, so those are, I would say, the 3 most popular websites for getting TEFL jobs. Our website, TEFL.org, ESLcafe.com, and TEFL.com. So those are the ones that I always look for jobs. But There are lots of other websites and there are lots of other social media groups where they list jobs. So if you're on Facebook, if you type in something like EFL online jobs, you'll find groups, companies advertising there. If you type in ESL, things like that, your ESL jobs, you'll find groups in that. LinkedIn, there are always jobs being advertised on LinkedIn as well. So that's just on the websites I know, but look beyond those, okay? Then I'm going to talk a bit in a minute about freelance and also going to work for like on companies like Italki as well. So that kind of thing as well. So there's big opportunities, I believe, in 2022 for teaching online. Teaching online is here to stay. So I was teaching online before the whole world was learning online, basically. And there was people way before me, who were teaching online. Teaching online has been around now for sort of about 10, 15 years almost for some people, okay? And the world has now opened up a bit and seen that it's actually possible to learn online and that it's a good thing. So I believe teaching online is here to stay. 2022 has started increasing again after at the end of 2021, they and at the start of 2022, the amount of jobs sort of started decreasing, but there are still going on to be jobs, and I do believe it will keep carrying on into 2023. Okay, but so that was all positive, but there are some things that I want to be aware of. I like to be honest here. Okay, there is a lot of competition for some of these jobs. There are a lot. So especially the higher paid ones were sort of approaching $20 an hour. There is a lot of competition amongst people applying for those jobs. There is also a lot of competition amongst people being freelance, and trying to get students. So just be aware of that, okay? And schools have certain standards, and you're going to get schools that want a high lot of qualifications, and you're going to get schools that want sort of low-level qualifications, But the key thing that you need to have is a quality teaching qualification, a good quality teaching qualification. So, for example, on our website, TEFL.org, we talk about the accreditation system that we have on our qualifications. We talk about the things you will learn on our qualifications. There are companies out there that offer cheaper TEFL qualifications than us. But are they accredited? Are they good quality? Do they go into much detail? Do they have master's level and experienced qualified trainers, for example? And schools will check these qualifications that you put in front of them, what you apply with, to see if they're good ones, okay? So get yourself, if you haven't got one already, a teaching qualification, minimum 120 hours from a good quality company. 120 hours is the minimum number that schools ask for. That's what is seen as a good benchmark to get teachers of a good quality. Then they are also looking for a high level of English. Now, you will see jobs advertised in native speakers. But what is a native speaker? I've done webinars about this. So if this is you that you're falling into, you're not sure whether you're a native speaker, or you think I can't get jobs because I'm not a native speaker, look at my previous webinars where I've spoken a bit about this. But schools do want a high level of English. And schools will say that you need to have IELTS at a certain level, or a Trinity qualification of a certain level, whatever it might be. Or they might say you need to have a degree from an English-speaking country. Schools have different ways of grading what a native level is. Okay, there are some schools that only care about the passport you have. If you've got a passport from an English first language country, they'll say that makes you a native speaker. You might not have been born there though, so just be aware that they might check that. Schools also have visa, even though you're working online, schools have visa requirements to go work for them. So they might ask for things like degrees, because that is what the government of the country that they are based in is saying. The employees need to have. Okay, so there are visa requirements and stuff like that between schools. So you got to don't be disheartened if you don't hit if you haven't got a degree, if you don't have an English, a high level of English, something like that. Go for it. Have a look around. You might be able to apply for them. You might be able to just look for other jobs. Just go from that. Right, so you want to be an online teacher. You're in the right place. You're listening to the right webinar. Okay. Have realistic expectations to go work online. When companies take people on face-to-face, they tend to give people a full amount of hours straight away. You land somewhere hot, beautiful, it's lovely, and you land there and you've got full-time work straight away. Doesn't tend to be how it works online. When you work online, they tend to not give you full-time hours straight away. I also think that teachers have to be aware that they're not going to earn a huge amount of money online straight away. Yeah, just have realistic expectations. I'll talk a little bit about this more, okay? Schools won't hire you full-time straight away. That's not how online schools tend to work. Now, some do. Some give you full-time hours. By full-time hours, I'm talking about like 20 to 25 contact hours in a week. But a lot of schools take people on. They give them 1 or 2 classes, maybe 5 hours of teaching a week to start you off. And then they see how you are. They see if students like you. They see if you're competent at your job that you're doing. You're checking that you're a good worker in terms of being on time, that kind of thing. And then they move the hours up. So if you see a school advertising, you might get full-time hours eventually, but be aware that you might need to start on like 5-10 hours a week. Yeah. You're probably not going to earn £20 an hour immediately. Yeah, a lot of people I know go into teaching English and they're expecting to earn quite good money. £20 an hour is a good amount of money. You're not going to earn that immediately. Now, this is possible. If you some companies will pay £20 an hour. But probably the best way to earn that sort of money is to go freelance. And I'm going to talk a bit about that in a minute. It might take a while also for a school to hire you. Be realistic that they've got a few steps that they need to get through before you're given a job. So you see the job online, you apply, might take them a couple of weeks to get back to you. Then you've got to schedule an interview. Then you might have to do schedule a different one for your trial lesson. Whatever it might be, don't think that it's going to happen straight away. You're not going to be applying and then working within 48 hours, 72 hours. It takes a while. Okay. Right. So how do you get started? Get a good certificate. I'm hoping that everybody watching this either already has their TEFL certificate or they're working towards it. Yeah. Get a good teaching qualification certificate. So do one of ours. There are other companies out there, but make sure they are a good company. If you have a limited amount of experience, or if you want to stand out a bit more, think about doing some extra training. So for example, we at the TEFL org here, we offer practical courses on top of the theoretical 120-hour course, where you can spend a weekend with someone like me online on Zoom, and we answer all the questions and you actually deliver a lesson online. Yeah. Think about some extra training which you can put on your CV, which can lift your confidence, which can show to companies that you're willing to learn more about teaching English as a foreign language. There are also extra theoretical modules you could do on top of the 120-hour course that are specific for online teaching. Take your time over your application. I mean, this goes for all jobs. So when I used to recruit teachers, you could see potential employees that just did not take their time over their application. They did it as quickly as they can. They also didn't tailor it for the job that I was offering. They were just you could just tell it was copied and pasted from job to job to job. It doesn't work. Yeah. Take your time over your application. Make sure you know about the students they're that they're going to have. Make sure you know about the type of English they're going to teach. Make sure that you know you don't have any grammatical errors in it, that kind of thing. Take your time over your application. Don't just apply for one job. Now, you might see a job there that you really, really like, and you think, well, I'm going to apply for that job because that's the one I want to do. And if you get it, fantastic, happy days. But they might not recruit you for a little while, and you might be sitting around waiting for them to get all their paperwork and all of that kind of thing. You might start it and realize you don't like it. What I would recommend you do is sort of apply for 2-3 companies maybe. Don't apply to a dozen all at the same time, but apply to 2 or 3 and maybe think about working for 2 or 3 different companies if you can when you start. That way, if you do 5 hours with one, 5 hours with another, 5 hours with another, you could get a bit more wage coming in, but also you can sort of see which ones you like working for. Don't just apply for one job, but also don't just blanket apply to every single TEFL online job you see. Take your time, think, right, okay, I could do that one. Take your time with your application. Right, now I've done that application, I'm going to apply for another one. Yeah. If you're a non-native speaker, and there are companies that will say, I think it's terrible that companies say native speakers only, because native speakers, just because you're a native speaker doesn't make you a good English teacher. Some of the best teachers that I've recruited have been non-native speakers. But I do believe that you need to be able to prove that you have a good English ability if English is not your first language. Now, I'm not saying go out and do an IELTS test, go out and do a Trinity test, but sort of think about how you could go about proving your English ability. Could you say my high school qualifications were delivered in English? Can you say my university degree was delivered in English? Things like that. Yeah. Research companies. You find a company that you like, put that company's name into Google, see what comes up. Put it into Facebook, put it into LinkedIn, see what people are saying about that company. Is it a good company? Is it a bad company? What do you need to do? What's a good way of passing the interviews? That kind of thing. Take your time and research the companies. So, quite a question that I'm quite often asked about online teaching is what countries are advertising? And, you know, it's not really a country that advertises. It's companies within that country. And some companies have students in Japan, China and Korea all together. Yeah. So just don't think about what countries, sort of think about what sort of companies. Now, what I would say is, though, the countries that are advertising change often. The biggest market for English is China, but the situation changes in China. You might also find that there are countries that are still on lockdown. You might also find that countries when their economy gets better or gets worse, they have more jobs advertised and they don't. So it does change often. Yeah. The good thing about working online is that you don't have to have one country that you teach to. You have to have one group of students that you teach to. You could, as I said, go work a little bit for a South American company. You go work a bit for a Chinese company. Go work a bit for a Japanese company. Have a range of different companies that you work for. Yeah. The China situation is changeable. You know, they've still got lockdowns going on in China. It's crazy. Sometimes there's jobs available, sometimes there's not in China. Okay. But people always ask me about China because they think that China is the number one market. Yes, it is the number one market, but it's also, if you add all the other countries together, it's bigger than China. So just the China situation is changeable. Yeah. There are lots of different countries, there are lots of different companies advertising. Just I had a look earlier, I saw Hungary, I saw Germany, I saw South American countries advertising. So, you know, there's lots of different countries and companies within that working and advertising. Okay. Work as a freelancer as well. If you think online teaching is for you, go work for a company, but also set yourself up as a freelancer. Okay. And long term, working as a freelancer is the best way to have your own students. It's the best way because you don't have to rely on other companies to pay you, to find the students, to tell you what to teach. You're going to be able to have more freedom. You're going to be able to charge more long term. Yeah. But it takes the longest to get going. If you want to be up and running as an online teacher, go work for a company. That'll get you up and running the quickest. If you want to be purely freelance, it takes a while and it takes a lot of effort. When I started online teaching, wasn't, I wasn't up and running super quickly and having a full calendar. Yeah, it took me probably about a year to get myself up and running and having a full online calendar. Yeah. I've done webinars about this, setting yourself up as a freelancer. So this is what you want to know more about. And find on this YouTube page, find on this Facebook page, a webinar about this. Yeah. But what you need to do is think of a niche. Don't be Carl, the English teacher. Be Carl, the business English, presentation English teacher. The narrower your niche, the easier it is to get students. And people always go, that's crazy. No, people don't search for business English. They search for learn English. Well, they do. But the problem is you've got lots of companies that are trying to get all of the learn English. And if you get some good search engine tools going, you'll realize that there's actually a lot of students Googling things like Italian speaker, improve my pronunciation. So you can be the Italian speaker's pronunciation teacher, for example. That's the sort of thing. It can narrow down your advertising costs. It can narrow down the search engines. It can get you going a lot better. Okay. It's also less planning and that kind of thing you need to do. You need to get a website. Just doing it from Facebook, I don't think works. Yeah. You've got to have a website that you can funnel students to. You've got to have a social media page and a group, that kind of thing. You've got to have a marketing strategy to get students in. Being a freelancer is as much about marketing as it is about teaching. Okay. But also look at what I call teacher directories, such as Italki. Go work for them, that kind of thing. I do believe that is a good way of doing it. By all means, set yourself up as a freelancer through your own website, that kind of thing. But also go work on these directories. But you will find you don't earn as much. But it's easy. It's an easier way to get students. Okay. Start small as a freelancer. Don't just think, well, I'm going to be a freelancer and within a month I'm going to have all these students contacting me. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to be making lots of money. I'm going to really enjoy it. No, that's not going to happen. Honestly, it's not. And you'll see lots of people on YouTube saying, I can get you earning $100,000 a year. I don't believe that's possible. You're a teacher at the end of the day. You're not going to be a millionaire from being teachers. Okay. Start small, go work for a company, set yourself up on Italki, build up your website, that kind of thing, and persevere at it. Keep going at it. Don't stop at it. It's going to take time. You're going to have periods where you're not going to make much money, but then you'll be surprised how quickly it sort of starts, the ball starts rolling once you get going. Okay. Thank you for all your questions. I've almost done my presentation. Please keep those questions coming in about anything at all to do about EFL. Me or Alan, we're really looking forward to answering them, okay? Don't listen to the negative Nellies. That's what I call them, the people that complain a lot. You will see people on social media complain, oh, this job's terrible. Oh, I've got no work. Oh, I thought I would be up and running really quickly. You'll see that a lot, okay? Because people like to complain on Facebook. Yeah, for sure. Okay, on social media and on YouTube, that kind of thing, all right? Busy teachers that have got a full amount of lessons and have got a full calendar of online teaching don't have time to get online and sort of get into these groups. Also, once you've got the jobs, you're not in those groups talking about them really. You're out there, teachers are busy. So if you see lots of people online saying, oh, there's not much work, I don't think they're working hard enough at getting a job, to be honest with you. Myself. I'm a teacher, a trainer, an examiner. I don't have time to go into these groups and sort of say, oh, look, you need to, how have you thought about doing this job, that kind of thing. Busy teachers don't have time to do it, yeah? It takes perseverance to get a job in any field, and EFL and online teaching is no different from that. Yeah, to get a job that you want to do takes time and and perseverance. Okay. Also, the final thing I would say about this is like there's an element of competition. I've got my niche, and I don't tend to tell people what my niche is. I've had problems with people before go, Carl, can you put your website in the links? Yes, I can. Of course I can. But I once had someone that copied my website. You know, there's an element of competition going here. Yeah. I would, what I don't, you know, I might be going after the same sort of students as another person. I'm not going to really go in there being all negative and that kind of thing. It's not going to work. Yeah. There is an element of competition for getting the jobs and for being a freelancer. Okay. Right. But I don't want to finish on the negative stuff. What are the benefits of working online? First thing is freedom. Yeah. I'm a bloke in his 40s who has a daughter and likes to play golf, has hobbies, that kind of thing. I think I have a lot more freedom in when I work, and I have a lot more availability for my family through teaching online, especially as a freelancer. Yeah, it gives you a lot of freedom. I can also, I'm lucky, I can pick and choose a bit about where I want to work because I've been doing it a while. Yeah. The location that you work for and the time. Obviously, there's digital nomads, and we have pages on our blog about being a digital nomad. You know, you can take your laptop, you can go sit on a beach. The beach is probably a bit wrong, but you can go sit in a hut near a beach in Thailand, teaching online to Chinese students, to South American students. Yeah. You might also be someone that wants to work in the morning, somebody wants to work in the afternoons. That kind of thing. You can get in doing that, all right? It's fun. Teaching online is fun. Yes, there are times when you don't want to be looking at this camera over and over again, but it is fun. You'll meet great students, you'll have a laugh with them. Yeah. You can often earn more than your local wage wherever you are in the world. So unless you're someone who has a massive mortgage and someone who you live in New York City and you need to have a lot of money coming in to pay your rent, generally you can earn more than the local wage wherever you are in the world. Yeah. Can also be a good stepping stone to work abroad eventually. So at the moment, if you think, do you know, I want to get into teaching, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to go work abroad, working online first can be a good stepping stone to do it. Okay. So really quickly, what to do if you want to be an online teacher. Look on the website TEFL.org, our company. Look on eslcafe.com, look on TEFL.com, look on Facebook groups. Look at the sort of jobs that are available. See if there are any jobs you like. Yeah. What do they need? What do they say? Right. If they say you need a degree, have you got a degree? Have you got a certificate, your certificate ready to do that one? If they say you need to go through a visa process, what do you need to do to get that visa to work for them? Yeah, prepare your documents. Okay. Check your application documents. Make sure that they're okay. Make sure that you know, you've got no spelling mistakes, no grammar mistakes. Get one of your friends to do it. Okay. Do exactly what they ask. Do exactly what they ask. If they're telling you to send this document to this email address, send this document to this email address. Be prepared to send copies of your passport, that kind of thing. I have never had a problem with sending my passport, copies of my passport all over the world. I even send them to jobs that I'm not really sure if I want them. To be honest, it's not a problem to send copies of your documents around the world. It's exactly what happens. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to pass this over to you guys now. Thank you very much if you're still with me right now. Thank you for listening to that presentation. Right, so some of the questions. Let's see, what's the first one we got there? Melanie, hi. Would I recommend Camily to gain experience for novice like me? So I think we've got on our website, and I know Alan has put the link in there. 20, I think it is, different companies that you can go work for. Camily is not a bad one. You know, they're established. They are, you know, they pay quickly. Do they pay well? I don't know. It depends on you and how much you want to earn, Melanie. But you know, they're good at paying. that sort of thing. Teachers don't tend to complain a huge amount about them. So I would recommend it. Yes, I think if you're new to teaching, why not go work for one of the more established companies and see if you like it? First of all, you might hate it, Melanie, teaching online. You might also love it. I would definitely go for a company like that to get some experience. Why not? Yeah, and then you don't have to stay with them forever. Just do it for a term, that kind of thing. See if you like it. All right. Good question. Joseph, hi. Any suggestions specifically for teaching business English? Right. So the first thing I would say is to go to our website and I think, wait, you're doing a course, are you? Or do you want to actually teach? Right. So if you actually want to go teach business English, you will see companies advertising for business English teachers. But most companies, they want people that can teach a range of English, because business English pays more generally than general English or kids. But there's not as big a market as there is for teaching kids English, or as a bigger market as there is for teaching academic English or exam English, for example. So companies tend to say, come work for us, and then once you've been working them for a little while, they might say, you've spoken to them, you've sent them an email saying I'm a business English teacher. They might then say to you, okay, look, yes, we've got these classes. There is a much bigger niche for business English. So, and business English is huge. There's, spoken business English, there's written business English, and within that you've got presentations, negotiations, pitching your product, social English, that kind of thing, for being at trade shows, this kind of thing. There's lots of different parts within that, and I think if you can get a niche with one of those that you like, yes, then I think that's definitely the sort of thing that you could definitely get involved in if you set yourself up as a freelancer. Okay. Now I'm just looking down our website. Yes, we do. We have a if you go to our website, TEFL.org, if you click on this TEFL courses bit here, and if you scroll down, we have a special module just to learn more about teaching business English. Okay, so if that's the sort of thing that you're into, as I said before, if you want to stand out from the crowd a bit, or if you want to set up your own niche as a business English teacher, then click on that. You'll find out more information. Okay, TEFL.org, click on courses. Okay, Musa, I see a question. Yes, it is possible to get a recording of this webinar. As in, you can watch it again on our Facebook or YouTube pages. Thank you. Right, let's get to the next question. Let's find it. Elspeth, hello. Thanks. Thank you. The group I teach is very diverse. My favourite sort of classes are 6 to 7 different nationalities. Getting them talking is a lot easier, tends to be, when you've got an international class. Right. Now, I also taught this in Northern Ireland here, where my students I had some students that couldn't even read or write in their first language, but they came here came here as refugees, and I was trying to teach them how to write in English and read in English when they actually couldn't even do it in their first language. Right. The best approach to help them learn, and I'm hoping they're about the same level, Elspeth. That's what I'm hoping. Best approach to help them learn is to start slow. Start with individual pieces of vocabulary. If you're working online, show pictures. Keep it. So today we do food. You have to lower the level of your English. Pick like 10 common things that they'll like. Ones that they want. Things like rice, fruit, some vegetables. Get them to check the vocabulary. Get them to associate the reading word with it. Get them to pronounce it. Get some really simple phrases like how much is broccoli, and then you can show some money, that kind of thing, on the screen to show that you're talking about money. Slowly. Don't expect too much, Elspeth. Look, there's a good website called eSoul Nexus. So basically, if it is low levels, You're probably a good website. A good thing to search for is ESOL, ESOL lessons, ESOL materials. That kind of thing is really good for low levels. Yeah. Good luck with it. Elspeth. Really rewarding, but can be quite test your patience quite a bit. Okay. Thank you though. Great question. Next one. How are we doing? Diana. What would I suggest as an add-on for online programs? Are you talking about an add-on module? Well, look, we've got. Let me just share the screen again. Let me see if I can get that up. There we go. So thank you. We've got some. Right. So if you want to be an online teacher, I would recommend that you go for like a 20-hour module add-on for teaching English online. You want to promote your own and set yourself up. This is a good one for doing. Okay. We also have practical modules. That might suit you better. So these ones are sort of self-study ones, but you might find that you want to spend the weekend with a tutor learning more. Something like an add-on to practice teaching online. That kind of thing might help. It does depend on you, Diana, what sort of teacher you want to be, what sort of teacher you want to do. Okay. Any of those would be good. Again, TEFL courses, click on that. You'll find some information there. Okay. Good question. Thank you, Diana. Next one is Heidi. Heidi, hello. Right. So I think Alan's already put a link into the chat here about different companies. So go on that one about the other recommendations. I think that's the one. Right. Freelance sites can be good. There's a lot of competition on them. There are a lot of people that have also been on there a while, like way before COVID. So they have sort of better, like higher, they've had more people more students sort of recommend them and review them, that kind of thing. Can be difficult to get in there with no sort of experience, that kind of thing. You might have to lower the amount of money you're willing to work for. That's what I would say, Heidi. Yeah. I think working for freelance sites and working for a company that's advertising and giving you a job and setting yourself up purely as a freelance is the way to go long term for online. I think just putting all your eggs in one basket long term is not the best way to do it. So I would do a bit of this, a bit of that, a bit of this, get yourself going through that. Okay. But yeah, there's a place for these, definitely. Margaret, hi. How does where you're working relate to citizenship? No, not at all, Margaret. You can work for companies around the world. Yeah. So some companies care about the passports that their teachers have, and they have visa rules around it. Some companies don't care about that. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I don't know. I think there's arguments either way. You can work for any company around the world if they'll have you, Margaret. Yeah. So citizenship, residency doesn't matter. Companies in your country doesn't matter. You can apply for any. Now you might find restrictions depending on where you are, Margaret, because they have visa restrictions from their governments and they want to stick to those. But don't worry about that. You can apply for any of them. Yeah. And if you're freelance, that doesn't matter at all. As long as you can get money off them through PayPal or cryptocurrency, whatever it might be, it's easy. Okay. Angel, hi. Can you teach English for a particular business? For example, right. So it doesn't tend to be, business English doesn't tend to be for a specific industry. What it tends to be is a particular part of business English. So as I said, negotiating is a part of business. English for business marketing. So I've taught business English students how to write Facebook pages, how to write the blurb that goes under YouTube, that kind of thing, marketing, that kind of thing. It doesn't tend to be per industry. But what you might find is that a student comes to you and says, I'm in the food industry and I want to be able to pitch my latest food product at a trade show. Then you might need to teach them some specific vocabulary within that industry. But I would not. No, I don't think it would work being Angela, the food industry English teacher. I'm not sure that's what students Google. I think they search for things like English for marketing, that kind of thing. You listen, Angel, you might have found something there, but I don't think so. Okay, I think probably you might. I shouldn't have dismissed it that much, but that's not traditionally how it's done. Okay. A season in hell. Interesting name. You've just finished your 120-hour-long TEFL certification courses. What's on the first step towards teaching online? So if you've got the certificate, you can't really do anything until you've got your certificate in your hand. Is that Mr. Season? I can't see from the picture. You can't really do anything to that. But once you've got that certificate, start looking for jobs, start applying. It's really simple. There's nothing that really you need to do beyond getting the certificate. You've got to start preparing your documents, but the first step is to look for jobs and seeing what are around that you like the look of, and just start applying, doing what they tell you to do. I've done webinars about job applications. I've done webinars about interviews, that kind of thing. Right? Look at those. Ali, good luck a season. Ali, if you have two students who want to do a lesson together, how do I charge? No, if I've got that. Right, so let's say you are wanting to make £10 an hour and you charge £10 an hour to students. If you've got two mates and they're like, oh, I want to go with my friend and learn English with you. Great, I've done lessons like that before. I would charge them both £7.50 an hour. I'd make a little bit more there. That's what I would do, Ali, but perhaps I'm a greedy guzzler. If you're happy and you're kind of new to it, you might want to just say, okay, do you know what? I usually charge £10 an hour for one student. There's two of you, £5 an hour each. That's what I do, okay? Now, if they don't know each other, then, how much can you get out of them? But I would probably there look for saying, I mean, it's difficult to get two people who don't know each other because that's a whole different type of marketing. You've got to market group courses, that kind of thing. It can be profitable, but I find it more difficult to get two students that want to learn the same thing at the same time. So if it's friends together, I would give them a bit of a discount, but make a bit more yourself. Good luck, Ali. 1609 SHK. How are you? What if I just want to teach part-time, 15, 20 hours a week? Is that going to be right? So part-time, yes, is your simple answer. Okay, right. Now, 20 hours of time spent actually teaching, 20 hours of contact time, you've got to think that's sort of 4 hours a day where you're looking into a computer. You've also got planning on top of that of the lessons. You might have marking on top of that. 20 hours of contact a day is actually pushing to be a full-time job. Now, most companies tend to, a good company that you're going to go work for will say, right, Carl, you're working 25 hours actually in front of students. That's enough. That's all you need to do. Yeah. More than that is draining, is tiring. I mean, just think about your country and like the high school teachers and the primary school teachers. How many hours a day do they actually spend in front of students? And then they've got all of the other stuff that goes on. That tends to be teachers. So if you want to work part-time really in teaching is about 5 hours a week of actually face-to-face in front of them hours. Yeah. So yes, you can. It's not going to be a barrier. You'll see companies that want people part-time. Fantastic. Do what's comfortable for you, but just be aware that full-time as a teacher is sort of different from, it's not like a normal office job where you're doing 40-hour weeks. You're sort of, it's how many hours in front of students you're going to be. Okay. Donna, yes, is part-time realistic? For the rules I just sort of said, yes, it can be, but what is part-time? That's what I would say to you. Okay. Margaret, how hard is it to work in the same time zone? Western. So obviously, if you're out in America, you've got to think who's in your time zone. So you've got Central America, South America within your time zone. look for jobs there if you want to be in your time zone. What I would say is that a lot of students want to learn English before school or before work or after school or after work. Because during the day, let's say 12 o'clock Chinese time, everybody's either at university or at work or at school. To do private lessons, they want to do it afterwards, or they want to do it at the weekends. So just have a little think about that, Margaret. Think about the hours you want to work, your time zone. Then think, right, okay, what time is that around the world? Because private language schools, and most people go and work for private language schools, tend to work in the evenings, tend to work before people start work, or tend to work weekends. Okay. If you're in Europe, you've got all of Africa. There's not a huge market for learning English in Africa. But you might want to think about Europe, that kind of thing. Or it depends on the times you want to get up and work. Good luck, Margaret. Giusy? Am I saying that right? Giusy? What if you're a non-native speaker and you don't have a degree? Right, so yes, companies will take you on. What is a native speaker? I've done things about this, webinars about this. It's difficult to define what a native speaker is. Yeah. Companies will take you on. If you don't have a degree, online is a good place to work. There tends to be a lot more jobs available than for people that don't have a degree. Okay. Good luck. Yeah. Romilla, do we need a Celta or Delta on top of a TEFL? No is a short answer. You don't. I have a Celta and I have a Delta. That has opened up more doors for me because traditionally, they tend to be more jobs advertised for those. But that has changed within my teaching lifetime. Nowadays, you don't see so many jobs advertised that need Celta and Deltas. They just say you need to have a TEFL certificate, and 120 hours online is enough for that. A Delta is what I would suggest to you, Romilla, is get your 120 hours certificate and you'll find work from that. Did some training the other week with a guy who has sent me an email this week saying he's going to go work in Sicily. He's got a 120 hour certificate. Eventually, if you want to move into management, if you want to move into examination jobs, long term, you might need to go get a Delta. But don't rush out and get a Celta. You don't need it. Stephen, is it difficult? Ananta. Pushed the wrong thing there. Ananta, hi. What are some ways to demonstrate English proficiently? Do applicants need portfolios? Not really. No, the easiest way to demonstrate English proficiency is to get a certificate in English. Something like an IELTS certificate, IELTS, a Trinity certificate, a Duolingo certificate. There's lots of companies out there that offer that kind of thing. Yeah, that tends to work. Have a look at my webinar that I did on non-native speakers. Okay. Right, what's the next question there? Let me find that one. Shuyafa, hello. You've tried lots of online platforms, but no luck in getting students. Very difficult. Right, do you also apply for jobs, Shuhaifa? I'm sorry if I'm not said it right. Companies will probably take you on. What I'd suggest is, as I said, you do a bit of this, a bit of that, a bit of this. Our link that you put in there of the different companies, have a look at some of those, see if you work it. But also set yourself up independently. Go work for a company, do a bit of everything until you've got the levels being raised and you've got the number of students you want coming in. Okay. Stephen, I missed your question. I'm sorry about that. Is it difficult for Americans to work in Northern Africa? I've never been asked that one. I don't think there's anything particular against Americans working in Northern Africa. I think probably Egypt. There might be work in Egypt. Where else is Northern Africa? Then I'm sort of thinking of Morocco tends to have jobs advertised, but there's big problems financially in Tunisia. I was reading that last week. Libya is obviously difficult. Egypt is the biggest market in Northern Africa. Okay. So start having a look through there. See if you can contact schools. Okay. Lavana, hello. What's been my biggest learning experience teaching online, good and bad? Right. My biggest the most difficult thing is students have bad technical knowledge. You know, you might think, okay, do you know what? I'm going to just post this link in and I can get them sort of typing in that. You post the link in, they can't find the link. They don't know how to use a chat box. They can't find the bit on the screen. Quite often also maybe watching it on a small device, which makes it a bit difficult to find the things that they need to find. Yeah. So be prepared to show students how to use technology as well. Best experience is just like how quickly you can actually improve them. When I first started, it really did surprise me how efficient online learning can be. Okay. Romilla, are there recruiters who specialise in finding jobs for TEFL students? Right. Don't go through recruiters. Find the jobs yourself, Romilla. There's lots of websites, as I've listed, as Alan's put in the chat. Find the jobs yourself. Don't go work for... Don't say a recruiter will find you a job. No. Do it yourself. Dougie, you're completely new to teaching. You're a native English speaker. You have a BSc in economics. You had planned to teach abroad post-TEFL course. Would you suggest teaching online first for experience post? If you really want to go abroad, Dougie, with a degree, business English, you can sort of get into that kind of thing. You've got your certificate. Go abroad. But some people want to ease themselves into it, or some people might have a few responsibilities that they've got to clear in their own country first. Then you might want to go do what you might want to do is start teaching online, then work into going abroad. But if you want to be abroad, go find jobs abroad. Done webinars about that. Okay. Couple more minutes, then we're done, I think. 1609, you're back. Hi. What about working with children is a good niche? Nope, that's a massive niche, children. So you might want to narrow it down. Different age ranges, different levels within those age ranges from beginner to advanced. You might want to even do something like learn English through music. You might want to do something like learn English through films to attract children. You might also want to concentrate on one or two different countries, that kind of thing. Does it pay more or less? I don't think it probably pays any more or less. I don't think if you go work for a school, they generally charge you pay the teachers the same, whether it's adults or kids. The thing with kids is you can get more students in. You can they also tend to stay with you for longer, so long term it can work more. But I don't think it pays more or less, really. No. Websites for resources used online. OneStopEnglish.com is good. Our website has some resources on it. TEFL.org. There's resources on that. ESOL courses. ESOL Nexus is good for low levels. Just type into, it depends on what you're trying to teach, you see, B. Barton. Don't just type in English teaching resources. You know, you want to put like grammar, like present continuous teaching resources, business English presentation resources, that kind of thing. Yeah. Thank you. I'm really sorry if I didn't get to your question. I think that's all of it. Well, no, there were loads more there. Look, I'm sorry, the questions were way more than I could cover in an hour. Please, if you do have a question, send it into our Facebook page, send us a message, or go on our website. Let me just show that again. If you go on our website and at the bottom right corner, there is a chat with us function. Okay. You click on that. You can send us a message on that, basically. Okay. Yes, we have a Facebook page and a Facebook group. You can go on that. We read all these comments as well. Okay. You know, after we've done that, we haven't got round to them. So please just go through that. Okay. Now, the other thing I really want to talk about, and I should have said this at the start because it's really fantastic and I'm enjoying listening to it, is it's nothing to do with me. So I still, it's nothing to do with me. I'm not on it at all. But there's a really good podcast that we've launched. Yeah. go look at that. Okay, we've got links on that on the Facebook page, that kind of thing, about people who want to go teach abroad and who have done that already. It's really, really interesting, and I've like to hear about all the people teaching abroad. Thank you very much, everybody. My voice is going from talking for so much. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like us and share us and all that kind of thing. Also, any sort of comments you have, please put it in there. If you didn't enjoy it, please do put it in there. Okay. But also, if you did enjoy it, please also say that. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.